Hi, everyone. We are back with another episode of Coffee and Conversation with Deliberately Classy. We are here with DeLaine Clifford, who is the founder of Deliberately Classy, which is a subscription-based mascara, which I use and I love.
Yay.
So DeLaine, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Deliberately Classy?
Oh, thanks for having me. So Deliberately Classy is a mascara company, like you said, that delivers every 90 days or whatever is your schedule. And it really just started as a passion project. I had a friend who passed away from cancer at an early age, and it really it made my life different, right? It got me off autopilot and got me to start thinking, how do I want to live my life and how can I write my own story? And that's really our mission behind the Deliberately Classy, is to help women realize how to write their own stories and create their own happiness.
Well, that's exciting, and I'm sure a lot of women can really appreciate that. What are some challenges right now during this interesting time that we're going through that you've been having, either professionally or personally, or whatever you're willing to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I think there's good parts about it, right? It makes us realize what's really important in our lives, right? I think, like I said, we're on autopilot. We just do what's in front of us and we don't really think about it a lot. So the one thing that I like about it is it's forced people to slow down and to be more aware of what's important to them. And I think that's a good thing. Um, I don't enjoy homeschool. So there's definitely some bad sides too. I'm not a teacher, but I guess I'm trying to be now.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
How has it been separating kind of, having your kids doing their schooling at home and then you have a full-time day job, plus you're running Deliberately Classy, you have your husband. How do you find the balance when everything is happening all at once at home?
Most of the time, I just go with the flow, right? I know they say one day at a time, but I think it's like 1 hour at a time right now when days are crazy, right? So I'm very lucky. My husband supports, does a lot of work with my kids and with, helps me, so I can continue to work and serve my customers. But I think you got to give yourself grace, right? We weren't prepared for this. We've never been through this before, and we're all going to get frustrated and, have moments. But as soon as you stop and you realize, like, hey, like, this is my first time doing this, I messed up, let's try it again, or let's do it a different way. It's just kind of learning the pattern, right? And I think not being too hard on yourself and not putting too much on the agenda, right? You might have an agenda list for 48 hours, but it might take you a week to get through, right? And that's okay. You just go with it.
Yeah, we've had to learn to be flexible because we're both planners.
Yes.
And as I'm sure you're in sales, you travel, you do things. We had our, social and professional calendar booked out for at least 90 days. And to have that suddenly wiped completely clean and not have any plans, it's just this kind of a strange feeling to wake up every morning and be like, okay, it's a new day. There's not a whole lot to look forward to. No concerts coming up, no friends to hang out with this weekend. So just like you said, finding the joy in the little things that, we tend to miss when we're busy rushing through life. And it's really helped us to kind of slow down and appreciate little things like putting on makeup. Last week was our first recording for this series. And it was the first time I had done my makeup in I think about a month, which has been great for my skin, but it just felt really good. And it seems like such a little thing, but for professionally or personally, it just gives you that little extra boost of confidence, not for anybody else, just for yourself. And little things like that for self-care really make a huge difference. And we've been trying to focus on, being kind to ourselves. And, when we don't feel motivated, it's okay to kind of take a little break and take a week to do that to-do list that you thought was going to take 2 days. So it's been really interesting, and I'm really interested to see how this affects our lives in the future. I think that it's going to shift a lot of things, and I really hope that the positives that have come out of it continue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it was Dave Hollis had a quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but it was like, in the rush to return to normal, this is the time to realize what you want to take back to that time. So
Right.
very
What are some
interesting.
things that you do just for yourself? Because, like you said, you have a hectic household, you're busy with your career. What is something that really helps bring you some peace when you need it?
So I've always woken up before my family and gone to the gym, right? So even though my gym is closed, I'm still waking up before my family, to have my moment of quiet, right? The house is quiet. I have my coffee. I meditate. I've always been well, the last couple of years I've been a meditator, so I meditate, and then I do my workout right at home. So that's different. But yeah, just taking, I think it's important to take the me moments, and even if they're 10 minutes, right? Even if you're, if it's desperate times, you're 10 minutes in your bathroom, on your phone or reading a book, right? If you have 10 minutes to do a walk, or like I've learned that I love riding my kid's scooter. I've been riding the scooter around the neighborhood when I need a moment, a break, right? Like I would have never gotten on my kid's scooter before this. So I think, if you have something that makes you or lets you clear your head for 10 minutes, you can go back into it. It's, that's magic. And if you can do that a few times a day, you'll be even better off.
Agreed. We've both wanted to meditate. We find it to be a very difficult practice.
Yeah. I use the Calm app, and they
Okay.
have ones that start from 1 minute, and then you can go up and go longer. I would try the 10-minute one, and it was way too long. I was like, whoa, that's a little aggressive for me. But I definitely find that when I do it regularly, it helps. It just
Yeah.
really does bring me calm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I challenge you to do it for 30 days straight, right? Even if it's like a 3-minute one. Something happens after you do it a consistent amount of time where you're like, oh, that's how it works, right? But like, it's a battle to get there. It wasn't easy for me to get there.
Okay, well, thanks for the tip. I definitely have. Last night, really, it came to my mind that I really wanted to try it, because falling asleep is very difficult with regular life, and then with the COVID on top of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely been a struggle. What is a piece of advice that you have for someone who is wanting to launch their own business or their own passion project? You went, again, you have a full-time job, you launched this, it's scary. I think a lot of people have great ideas and have an idea of a product or a business that they want to launch, and they just taking that first step and that leap is scary. What advice do you have for someone who is sitting at home right now, has some time to finally execute on those great ideas? What is a piece of advice you have from your experience?
It comes down to what your why is, right? If you have an idea and there's a emotional attachment to the idea, then it's going to be a lot stronger for you to make the move and to get through the uncomfortableness, right? I never started a company. I always said I would never own a company. But that just went out the window when I thought of Deliberately Classy. And, I needed to do that for my healing of getting over my friends. So I pushed through it. I pushed through the uncomfortable. I got into the messy, and I learned, and I stumbled along the way. And, I learned to ask for help, right? I think a lot of independent women who have these ideas don't want to ask for help. And I guess my advice would be ask for help, right? Google's a great source, but picking up your phone and calling, someone, that maybe you've never even had a relationship with, but they started their company, and you just say, hey, I'm thinking about starting my company. I don't know how to do this. Do you know anyone that can help me? And I think people are willing to help you. If they own a business, they know the struggles, they know, it's a lonely thing to be an entrepreneur. And the fact that, you don't have someone to turn to and say, how do you do this? Right? You gotta take the extra step and pick up the phone and ask for help.
Absolutely. And I find in networking that 99% of the people in the room are absolutely willing to help and give advice and tell you their story. So I 100% agree with that. And I think that people feel vulnerable by putting that message out there, or feel less than, oh, if I have to ask this question, does it make me feel that I don't know how to do this? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it brings you to be a better person to really reach out. So that's a wonderful piece of advice.
Well, and someone, I think when I was, going through the motion, someone said, well, what if you didn't do this, would you be mad at yourself? And I was like, yeah, I'd be pissed. And so that was really, my final thing, just to jump off the diving board and get it done.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. And I have to thank you for inspiring me. I am not a fan of being on videos. And when we started working with you, you encouraged and tried to hold me accountable for putting out one video a week. And I have to say, I failed miserably for a while on that. And then this weekly series was born. So I want to thank you for, helping to push us out of our comfort zone and
Yes.
take that leap and do something new and learn. We're not in a professional studio or anything, but it's just about jumping off that diving board, like you say, and you know seeing what we can do to support other women like yourself and other people who are at home and maybe have some business ideas that they want to implement, and hopefully we can inspire more people to
Absolutely.
take that leap and do what they love and find their why. Because now is the time. I think a lot of businesses skip that step of, okay, this is what we want to sell, let's sell it, or this is what we want to do, let's do it, instead of taking the time to identify their why. And I'm a huge fan of Simon Sinek. He has a popular TED Talk, he has a book, Start With Why. And I think now is a great time for businesses to, even who have been around for years, to sit down and really ask themselves that question, so that when we all come out of this, we all are more intentional and purposeful with what we're doing.
Yes. Absolutely.
So thank you for inspiring us. I am a huge fan of your mascara. I've spent most of my adult life, since I was allowed to wear makeup, trying to find good mascaras, and I go through them and I throw them out and I don't like them. So this is nice.
Yes.
Also because I don't have to wonder when my next one is coming. It will be here 90 days from when I purchased it. So thank you for that. Is there anything that is, we're all limited to our essential items right now. Is there anything during this time that you've realized is something that you just can't live without?
It's probably hand sanitizer came to my mind, which is so crazy that that's what I'm saying. I've always been a hand sanitizer, but I literally won't go anywhere without it right now. So for right now, I'm going to say hand sanitizer. And I like the spray kind.
The spray kind. Okay. Or have you been able to locate it in stores?
No. I'm glad I had a stock.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have the spray one in my car, and I will use it and also spray my steering wheel.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, super handy. I love the spray. And if someone, if you needed to be a bad guy deterrent, you can just spray it there.
Yeah.
Dual purpose.
How about any businesses or brands that you've noticed maybe on social media or online that you've been impressed with right now during this time?
I love the creativity, right? And not one specific brand comes to mind, but I think it's cool that people are like, okay, I can't do this, so what else can I do? From waxers telling you, don't get a magnifying mirror, right? Just let it grow out and we'll start fresh. To people doing online showings of clothes to sell the clothes. But I think overall, the people that I would want to shout out are the grocery store workers. Who would have thought that they would be so essential to us at this time? So I'll give it to the grocery store people that have stepped up and are still helping us get our food.
Yes,
absolutely. That's a great one. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're so inspired by you.
Thank you.
Where can we find you online? How can people support you right now?
Sure. So I'm Deliberately Classy on all my handles. So I do most of my posting on Instagram, Deliberately Classy, and Facebook, I'm on as well. And to support, give me a follow, give me a shout out. And of course, if you need some mascara delivered, it is coming safely from my house to yours right now. So it's touching the least amount of people as possible. So it'll be safe when it arrives.
Awesome. Well, cheers to you, DeLaine. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see everyone next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.